And I move to proceed to Senate Resolution 193.
Without objection, so ordered.
Madam President, Senator Richardville offers Senate Resolution number 193, a resolution of tribute for the Honorable Roger Kahn.
Senator Meekhoff.
I move the rules be suspended, allow for the immediate consideration of Senate Resolution 193.
Without objection, so ordered.
Madam President, Senate Resolution number 193, a resolution of tribute for the Honorable Roger Kahn. The rules have been suspended to allow for its immediate consideration. There are no amendments pending before its adoption.
Senator Kahn, it's now my great honor to call upon you for your farewell speech.
Okay. Well, I kind of like the line about yard signs for sale, so I'm going to do it all over again. I had first thought of rising today to state Kahn leaving yard sign wires for sale, but the wires, like me, are rusty and are unlikely to be reborn in another campaign. So instead, I'd like to say thank you, and I give some observations and speak of a few colleagues and say goodbye. In our political lives, our families' contributions are too often unrecognized. They hear the criticisms we as office holders sign up for, but they are not prepared with issue briefs to defend us or themselves. They're often asked for opinions on issues with which they are unfamiliar at best. One hears stories, hopefully untrue, of children having their grades reduced or family not being hired for jobs because they're related to troublemaking legislators. Well, despite those risks, there is value and self-satisfaction in what we do, and our families are proud of us. And part of having value requires us to be worthy of their pride. Proper conduct, action, motivation on our part is owed our supporters, our staffs, our constituents, our state, and in particular, our loved ones. And I hope I have, as best I could, been true unto my abilities to act honorably, as much for my staff, friends, and family as for myself. And I hope I've thanked them with my actions. But more to the point in saying thank you is, in fact, to say it. So thank you, Nancy, and Becky, and Andrew, and Jamie, and Sarah, and back home, my staff there, Bill, Wally, Diantha, Amy, and Tim. You have all helped me mightily, and I'm grateful. I want to thank my former staff, too, and in particular, Stephanie, Kyle, Holly, and Ben. They helped me win tough elections in a difficult district and helped me steer a clear course for the 32nd District and for Michigan. To my wife, Nyla, who's busy at a conference today and got to pre-read this speech and can't be here, my wife, Nyla, raises me up when I am down. She herself has knocked on over 10,000 doors, been in over 250 parades, and easily been to 500 events usually with people that she did not or does not know. And thank you is not enough. I love you, Nyla. My friends, when we fell in love, Nyla and I wrote and I proposed to her with this poem. It goes like this. Awake, awake, I am awake, though of your lips I dream. Your fair hand I long to take, and there to place my ring. Your laughs a warm, bewitching tease, your heart the kindest saint would please. And for your eyes, love poems are writ, and on your foot the slipper fits. When snowflakes come, your cheek I'll warm, in summer sun be shade. A rainbow roof for each spring storm, fall's cricket serenade. In love I am for my last time, don't let me love alone. I thank God each day for her, and by the way, the slipper still fits. Well, now today, with this speech, I find it is no longer possible to deny that my time in the legislature is ending. Yes, I know about the risks of elections, but I never lost one. I've heard of Tim limits, and I understand them in a general way, but in particular, well, not so much. The notion of a date final, or of a final curtain dropping. Well, I'm reminded of the writer William Saroyan, who wrote in a letter to his survivors, "I know everybody has got to go, but I always believed an exception would be made in my case," and I wholeheartedly agree with Saroyan. But in the event that the Lord, with the mighty hand, does not deliver me back to the Senate in January, I do have some observations I would like to share with current and future senators. Please look for unintended consequences. For example, tax cuts return dollars to those who earn those dollars. They're an important part of supporting our people and free markets and of limited efficient government. But taxes also support important social programs that our people want and that free markets ignore, things like state police, roads, and Medicaid. In important ways, it is a zero-sum game. Resource reductions are inexorably linked to programmatic changes, modifications, or reductions. Our people deserve to know both what they gain and lose with the actions that we take. Saying that we can find fraud, waste, and abuse savings or growth to offset resource reductions without concrete and verifiable examples is bad faith with our people and also with ourselves. A different type of direct example of unintended consequences involves Medicaid. Medicaid, besides providing health care to children and to pregnant women, also provides long-term institutional care for the poor. Receiving benefits is an eligibility question. And so, we now have a whole branch of the law whose function is to help people of wealth hide their assets and become Medicaid eligible. And this practice subverts the intent of the act, and you should look at it. On a larger scale, Michigan's term limits law, while intended to promote citizen legislators and avoid homesteading in office, has led to the unintended consequence of empowerment of the executive and the lobbying community while limiting the effectiveness of our citizens' most accessible advocates, you and me, legislators. This hurts our people's ability to redress their grievances. Additionally, term limit law damages across-the-aisle relationship building and promotes excessive partisanship, and improvements in term limits are clearly needed. State governments are said to be the issue laboratories of our nation, and to that end, we in Michigan need to look at potentially far-reaching law and be prepared to defend it in court. When Social Security pension benefits disadvantage marriage and prompt live-in arrangements between seniors, an entirely wrong message is sent to our seniors and also to our children and our families. We should seek to lead on these issues and fix marriage disincentives in our nation. Such fix-it laws, I think we ought to call red, white, and blue laws. More controversially, I suppose, in my opinion, the subversion of the intent of the First Amendment to our Constitution by the Supreme Court, and notably William Douglas, needs desperately to be relitigated. We need law that differentiates between liberty and license and strikes at pornography and protects our children. And if struck down in court, it should be appealed and reappealed if necessary. Sadly, Our country now has a media entertainment complex that promotes shock value over accuracy or truth and uses the most inflammatory adjectives and violent news it can find because it sells. Good news stories are entirely too rare or buried in the papers or newscasts. Similarly, movies routinely use revulsive plots and outlandish sex and violence for the same reason. It sells, they think. And while they are selling sex and violence, they are damaging our children and our country. Be bold, leaders, and look at the First Amendment. Our country makes things, cars, computers, airplanes, and at one time watches, clothing, and steel. This means it meant self-sufficiency for America. And by that I mean jobs. Michigan, for example, is still 500,000 jobs short of its turn-of-the-century total. Last year alone, just 60 U.S. companies parked $170 billion offshore because of U.S. tax law. U.S. tax law disincentivizes bringing home those profits and creating jobs here. Jobs for us, for our children, for our grandchildren. You all campaigned on jobs. Look at this issue. Make no mistake about it. Jobs are about more than a paycheck. They're about self-respect, too. And by the way, it's worse than $170 billion. I've heard that there may be as much as $2 trillion overseas and waiting. Let's look at investment tax credits or tax holidays for foreign located U.S. dollars brought here to Michigan and used to create jobs. Make the rest of the country follow our lead. Yeah, I understand that it'll come to others to explore these ideas and test their worthiness or act or not act. I have faith in you and in the members that are returning, and I hope these thoughts are a little like a direction-pointing beacon. And so my hour upon the stage draws nigh, and I leave with thoughts for others and of work yet to be done. And of those others, I'd like to speak for a moment of Mo Hood, who lost his wife during this term of office. And her courage and his in facing cancer is inspiring. He's never been bitter, always working to better our people's lives. And I'm honored he is my friend. Thank you, Mo, for your example. My term in office overlapped Paul Opsimer's, formerly in the House, and we served Gratiot County together. Paul's politics and mine are different. I have no doubt he wants Michigan to succeed as much as I do, and has an easy manner and a tenacious work ethic, and I want to thank him for his example, too. And Paul, I envy your demeanor. Perhaps I'll obtain it in the next life. Colleagues, we have had good days together and challenges. In important ways, we are like gardeners. We plant seeds that will one day grow. We water seeds that others have planted, knowing that they hold future promise. Others following us nurture the resulting plants, and still others bring in the crop. So it helps now and then to take that longer view, as it brings hope. The future's not only beyond our view because of unintended consequences and more, the future is just flat out impossible to predict. So not surprisingly, nothing we do is complete, which is a way of saying that understanding always lies beyond us. No statement, no speech says all that could be said. No set of goals and objectives includes everything, and no program is complete. We accomplish only a tiny fraction of our hopes and dreams. In important ways, this realization is liberating because it enables us to seize the day, to do something, and do it well. Yes, it may be incomplete, but it's a beginning, a step along the way. In thinking of thank yous and thoughts to leave behind in my hour upon the stage, I remember another poem, a poem I wrote for a retiring colleague and find it applies to me and to all of us, and it goes like this. I see the tiger glitter bright, and all the world does shrink from striped jaws and sinews tight, from teeth that rise and sink. At every step, dread silence falls, no breath until he's past, and follows him a keening call, wide eyes announce his path. I see the tiger in his night, and he struggles for his roar, his tail twitch, a lesser sight, and then he is seen no more. So too the strongest and the best, like all of us, are laid to rest. Goodbye.
Members, if you would remain standing, and the Secretary is going to read the resolution, and Senator Kahn asks that his remarks be printed in the Journal.
Senate Resolution Number 193, offered by Senator Richardville, a resolution of tribute for the Honorable Roger Kahn. Whereas we extend our thanks and gratitude to Roger Kahn for his outstanding service to the 32nd District and the entire state. His integrity, commitment, and leadership will be deeply missed by his Senate colleagues and the Michigan legislature. And whereas Roger Kahn was born in Monroe and is a proud alumnus of Delta College, Michigan State University, and the Wayne State University Medical School, after earning his medical degree and specializing in cardiology, he settled in the Saginaw area. Constantly striving to help his patients, Roger Kahn brought many life-saving treatments to Saginaw and transformed the area into one of the best cardiac centers in the Midwest. Wanting to inspire and mentor others, he became a professor of medicine at Michigan State University and received a Teacher of the Year award. His medical and educational careers demonstrate his passion for helping others. His election to the Saginaw County Board of Commissioners would begin another career of helping others as a dedicated public servant. And whereas, after serving one term in the House of Representatives, Roger Kahn was elected to the Senate in November 2006. Senator Kahn has been an eminently successful legislator. He has introduced and guided to enactment dozens of bills that benefited his district and the state of Michigan, such as legislation to help veterans, punish animal cruelty, increase the accessibility of the flu vaccine, keep children safe from toxic toys, provide for medically safe marijuana, and many others. During his 8 years in the Senate, he has served primarily on the Appropriations Committee and has been the chair since 2011. The state and this legislative body have benefited greatly from Senator Kahn's contributions. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that we commend and thank Roger Kahn for his dedicated service to the Michigan Senate and the state of Michigan, and be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be transmitted to Senator Kahn as evidence of our high esteem and our best wishes for his future success.
All those in favor of the adoption will say aye. Aye. Adoption, we thank you for your service. The state of Michigan, thank you. Senator Meekoff.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Lieutenant Governor, all members of the Senate be listed as co-sponsors of Senate Resolution 193.
Without objection, so ordered.